Am I clearly audible to you?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Oh, thank
Yes,
you.
sir, you are
Thank
perfectly
you.
audible.
Yeah. I have given this attractive, rather a little bit provocative title for my talk, Kalyadi Cobalt Mine. You know the importance of cobalt in the modern world, and then ever since the India, being a signatory, has also thought of introducing and changing over to EVs, uh, and that's the importance world over. And I found the Kalyadi deserves to be called as a cobalt mine, and I'm going to show you the reasons why cobalt is ready for, sorry, Kalyadi is ready for a mine, ready for mining cobalt. Cobalt is in significant quantities, and sufficient work has already been carried out by way of beneficiation and testing of the ores and different underground levels, and also the tailing dumps. These are the subjects I'll be dealing with today. And this slide shows where it is. You know, Kalyadi copper mine is about 200 kilometers northwest of Bangalore here. And it is easily approachable, about 4 hours maximum. We need to go to Arsikare on the way to Shivamogga. And from Arsikare, it's a big town, and it's about 12 kilometers to the southwest of Arsikare town. And that is where Kalyadi is, and then that's going to be the future cobalt mine in India. Next slide, please. Yeah. Cobalt is a critical material in the production of battery for EVs, and I'm sure all of you are aware of this one. Ever since the Finance Minister, Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman, in her 2018 budget speech, announced government's resolve to switch over to EVs, the Ministry of Mines has been on the lookout for cobalt mineral resources. The ministry, through its KABIL, Khanij Videsh India, is putting its efforts to building partnerships overseas and in search of cobalt and lithium. And we have definitely, I believe, strongly believe that we have cobalt resources, and one of them is ready to be mined. In other places, cobalt can be extracted as a co-product of the up and running copper mines and other copper resources other than what we have in the state of Jharkhand, cobalt associated with nickel. Yeah. And I understand Kabil has recently signed a preliminary agreement with Australia's Critical Minerals Facilitation Office with the objective to explore for both lithium and cobalt. Global decarbonization alone will drive demand for cobalt alongside other important battery materials, including RE, for a long time to come. India needs to now go ahead aggressively searching for, within the country, we need to search for, and we have the potential. The Indian geology has the potential to deliver a few mines within the next 5-6 years. Next one, please. Yeah, this I came across this strategic materials, a publication authored by Ajay Lile and Praveen Bharadwaj, and they belong to Institute for Defense Studies and Analysis, New Delhi. I came across this one in year 2014 when I was nominated as a member of the Strategic Metals Committee of the Ministry of Mines. So the at that time I started my search, and then um, uh, listing out all those strategic metals, and cobalt is one of them. And I began my obviously studies with looking into my files on Kalyadi, because Kalyadi uh, had, in before 1984, we knew that cobalt is in anomalous content, but we did not know, I did not know the importance of cobalt at the time, except that as a trace element, it was a bit anomalous compared to other metals in Kalyadi ores. In this important publication, the authors, the Ajay Lile and Praveen, have attempted a macro level analysis of strategic minerals in the Indian context. I recommend, this is quite a big publication, and I recommend to the viewers here to go through this. It covers almost over 25 strategic metals strategic for India. And for cobalt, India is heavily dependent on imports. India is importing ores, concentrates, alloys, and scrap. The risk factor for cobalt, as assessed in this publication, is 3.75 out of 4. That means it is a very, its risk factor is high, and Ministry of Mines has already begun in such, searching for cobalt overseas, but inside also, I mean, uh, the ministry has to focus attention on the existing resources too. My studies have indicated that India has immense potential for identifying cobalt resources as a by or co-product of copper mining and iron sulfide deposits, and sulfide associated with even gold deposits. One such example, I find significant cobalt in Bukia deposits, Bukia gold deposits in Banswara district, Rajasthan. Kalyadi copper mine in Karnataka is currently under care and maintenance under Hatti Gold Mines Limited, and I hope soon after this presentation, data code will write to the Hatti Gold Mines to pay attention to this um, the abandoned mine, though I mean, it's the care and maintenance to reopen the mine, because we have good price for copper at the moment. Cobalt, I think the cobalt price may be 6 rupees per gram. I don't know, have not searched for its price, but if it is 6 rupees, for 1% is 60,000 rupees. In a concentrate containing 1% is 60,000 rupees. It's worth going for, worth opening the Kalyadi copper mine. Next one, please. Yeah, let's go into the discovery of copper as well as cobalt at Kalyadi. And this is a, I mean, this historical account may interest some of you. In 1937, it was Dr. Radhakrishna, who was an assistant geologist in the Department of Mines and Geology much before becoming the director. He was director for, I think, over 12 years, and he identified ancient pits, and a big pit is there, single pit with malachite stained debris and mud crucibles used for extraction of copper metal. This he has recorded in the Mysore Geological Department, the records, volume number 36. Later on, he has also recorded his brief account of Kalyadi copper ores in his own publication, that is published by Department of Mines and Geology in year 1967. Between 1950 and 1970, the Geological Survey of India undertook detailed exploration involving trenching, bulk sampling of the old debris, and also carried out drilling. And these have been, I think it's there. Yeah, one is a published account, and another one, Narsimhan and Vishwanatha M.N. 1970. There is a uh, in-house publication or a report of the GSI, and Vishwanatha later on published it an account on Kalyadi investigations carried out by the GSI in miscellaneous publication number 27. During 1973 and 74, I was involved, and then I was asked to carry out drilling in this area. That was all for copper in those days by Chitradurga Copper Company. And at that time, the Karnataka Copper Consortium, which later on became the owner of Kalyadi copper mines, came into existence. And I was deputed from Inglehall copper mines to Kalyadi here, and I started drilling. In those days, it was usually either 1 or 2 meters, maximum 3 meters a day, and there was no wireline core drilling. Next one, please. Yeah, this is a view of the first shaft, which was located. In fact, Dr. B.P. Radhakrishna asked me in 1973, late 73 or early 74, to go and locate a shaft. I had not heard of a shaft by that time. I only saw some shafts in Inglehall copper mines in year 1972. And the location, of course, because I was a geologist, so I showed a location on the hanging wall side of the ore body, and I will present those two slides: geology the area, geology the ore body of Kalyadi copper mining area, and later in my presentation. To begin with, I would like to present how the cobalt was came to be discovered in this area. So this is the hills that you see in the far there. They are intrusive Arsicaria granites of 2,600 million years, and this was the first shaft. 400 meters to the northwest of this shaft, another shaft was located, and 1973, the underground mining began in this area. Yeah. Next one, please. Yeah. In mid 73, as I said, exploratory mining began, two shafts 400-meter apart. And Radhakrishnan and myself put together all the drilling data by that time. And I made an assessment of the resource, which is recorded in a booklet on the feasibility. It's a feasibility report published by, not published by, it's a unpublished document of the Chitradurga Copper Company, dated 1974. 1.9 million ton at 0.54% was the resource assessed at that time. 0.5 was not feasible, really feasible at that point of time. But this was part of the government promotional activity, and Chitradurga Copper Company was already functioning by the time it was producing copper concentrates and dispatching the copper concentrates to K3 copper smelter, to Hindustan Copper Limited. I think it was around 1,800 rupees or so per ton of concentrate. The price of concentrate was around 1,800, which became 2,500 in those in 1800 in around 1980. And that was good enough to make some money for Chitradurga Copper Company. But this 0.54 was not really profitable. But nevertheless, Kalyadi copper deposit did produce copper concentrates for more than, I think, 12 years. Kalyadi copper mine was commissioned in 1974. 500 tons per day copper concentrate plant was established. And 1976, I think it started producing the copper concentrates. The then governor of Karnataka, Mohanlal Sukhadia, inaugurated the the copper concentrate plant. And I was asked to lay a road from Arsikare, because it was only a car track between Arsikare to Kalyadi mine. And a road was built, a motorable road was built in 1975 at that time. And that work was also assigned to me, although it was not, it was not my job. So the mine has so far produced 0.5 million tons of copper ore, 10,974, say 11,000 tons of copper concentrates has been produced. And currently the mine is under care and maintenance. Next one, please. Next one. Yeah. Let's see how cobalt came to be discovered. Next slide, please. Yeah. Sampling, it was, no one did carry out, sampling exclusively for cobalt. But in those days, the academicians, particularly, I was in the Indian Institute of Science in 1973, 74, doing my PhD also. I mean, as a external candidate, one Dr. A.G. Menon belonged to, he was doing his PhD on sulfide isotopes and trace elements in sulfides. I handed him a few, 2 or 3 samples of chalcopyrite concentrate as well as pyrite concentrates, which he scanned and found anomalous cobalt content of 3,500 to 4,000 within the mineral phases, not in the ore. So in the ore, it is much lower, but within the mineral phase, 3,500 to 4,000 ppm of cobalt was found by him, which I later on referred to in my publication in 1983, and followed up by Parameshwaraya of the Indian Bureau of Mines took up a special investigation on the Kalyadi wars, and it was he who found the significant uh, cobalt content in this area after Menon found the anomalous values. In those days, we were calling 3,500 to 4,000 as anomalous content of cobalt in sulfide fractions. So then later on, Devaraju and Alapeti, 1997, made a publication. They came up with a much, bigger figures. I'm going to present those figures to you. Biju, Matthew, and Chandrasekharan, IIT, Powai, 1999, they made a publication. Rahim and myself, we made a systematic study of the different levels of the underground mines and sampled the and then our publications of was in 2001, and initially it was presented at Mysore University in 1999, and Jayshree Thomas, who was heading the mineral ore dressing division of the Indian Bureau of Mines, I sent some bulk samples to her for beneficiation and detailed mineralogical studies, and jointly with her, we have a publication in the Journal Geological Society of India in year 2008. These are the papers in which you will find the cobalt, the big numbers here, which you are going to appreciate here. So this is the beginning of the finding of cobalt in Kalyadi copper mines. And later on, the particularly the work of Jayshree Thomas, in which I was associated, we paid attention to the tailing dumps. Tailing dump is rich in pyrite after extraction of chalcopyrite, which went into the copper concentrate which was being sold, and the tailing dump is rich in pyrite, and that was the one which we thought could be the future ore, and it, in fact, it is the next ore. The tailing dump is going to be the cobalt ore in this area. Next one, please. Yeah, look at these values. These are contained in the A.G. Menon's PhD thesis, 4,032 in a pyrite, two samples of pyrite grains. These are, you know, yeah, scanning trace elements in mineral phases. Chalcopyrite, you notice here, chalcopyrite doesn't carry any significant cobalt. Pyrrhotite, yes, 3,500 ppm of cobalt in the pyrrhotite as well as pyrite. Pyrite is much more in Kaliadi ores than pyrrhotite. Next one, please. Yeah. Then this is a very important work, Cobalt, a new economic metal on the mineral map of India. This is the title my friend Parameshwaraya gave. He was a senior mining geologist, and it appeared. It was presented in a seminar in Bangalore, and it's part of a abstract volume in 1996. The this Parameshwaraya started this program as part of the Indian Bureau of Mines program. The the details are available in a 3-page, which I can share, and I'll ask my friend Parameshwaraya to share with you, those interested. And then the results of the beneficiation study carried out sampling as well as the beneficiation study was the feed grade was 320 ppm. Yes, this is the normal grade that we find anywhere above 2,200 ppm and above, and below 400 ppm is the range of values that we have obtained from the ore directly. The and without any concentration, without any kind of, what shall I say, pick and choose. So the general grade of the ore is between 300 to 400 ppm. Concentrate grade is almost 10,000 ppm, 9,100 is almost 1%. The process adopted by IBM was flotation. Metal recovery was 84, 85%. The grade, cobalt grade in the tailings after this was not a very small, 20 ppm. So then the leaching studies was also carried out, and the Parameshwara found that the cobalt can be leached, and that was a very significant in 1996. This was a real. The world was probably not looking for cobalt in those days, except of course we all know the major cobalt production comes from the Congo-Zambian border, the uh, yeah, the Congolese sulfide mines. Yeah. Other than that, in 1996, I think probably this work went unnoticed. Next one, please. Yeah. The After I made a publication along with J.C. Thomas in the JGSI, I had forgotten to mention Dr. Devraju's contribution for cobalt in Kalyadi. This was brought to my, I'm reproducing Professor Devaraju's. Professor Devaraju must be around 84 or 85 years of age. He's in Dharwad. And the authors, I'll read out that area which I have highlighted. The authors would note from our publication that Kalyadi sulfide ore, the samples examined by us, that is Devaraju and Alpeti, uh, both normal pyrite, that is cobalt free or cobalt poor pyrite, as well as cobaltiferous pyrite, uh, analyzing, the CO pyrite, analyzed 5.4 to 8.4% cobalt, which is distinctly higher as compared to 1.6 to 3.28%, which J.C. Thomas and our paper highlighted, published paper in the Society. But when doing this comparison, the um, Devraju, Professor Devraju found this one in the Kalyadi ores after separating the phases, whereas we did the work in the tailings. Tailings was the starting material, and tailings also contained 1.6 to 3.28% cobalt. It should have been much more, but here the ore itself is reporting, according to Devraju, up to 8.8% cobalt. This is really very significant. Yeah, this is the purpose of this one. And the Devraju's publication is in JGSI volume 49, 1997. Next one, please. Yeah. Biju, Matthew, and Chandrasekharan, and they reported 0.24% cobalt to 3.69, again in pyrite and chalcopyrite mineral phases. The next table, next one, please. Yeah. Here is the presentation of their work, trace element distribution and cobalt content in sulfide ores of Kalyadi. And again, you can see the pyrite as well as chalcopyrite. And significantly, they also call cobaltiferous pyrite. It contains anywhere between, under the cobalt column, 0.96% to 3.69%. Again, very significant. All these are more than 1%, and they, yeah, 1%, and that's what we find in the concentrates examined by the Indian Bureau of Mines. So these demonstrate that really, the works by different groups uh, uh, has reported significant, not significant, almost low grade cobalt. Yeah. Next one, please. Yeah. This is Abdul Rahim and my work. And he was the mining geologist at that time, carried out systematic sampling in the four underground levels. And our data is presented in a graph. Next slide, please. This is published in an abstract volume in year 2001. This is a level-wise cobalt and copper distribution in Kalyadi copper mine. The next one, please. Yeah, look at here. The top solid line is cobalt and copper with depth up to fourth level. The and beyond, the copper content decreases. It is probably less than 0.5%, whereas cobalt content goes high. The cobalt content is 621 ppm in the ore. This is not in the mineral phase. In the ore, and then at the on the fourth level, fourth underground level, at the top it is 265 ppm. This is what I said. Anywhere between say 250, 300 to 400 ppm is the content of cobalt in the Kalyadi copper ores. Yeah, this is a demonstration of uh, cobalt content in the mine. Next one, please. Yeah. So this is the work I was referring to, J. Sri Thomas and others. And this was a work carried out on the tailings. So next one, please. Yeah, look at this table. This is part of the that published work. And the cobalt in the ore is 320 ppm, and in the concentrate. Sorry, I said the ore. It's this is the tailings. This is in this case the sample was the tested sample was a tailing sample, and 320 ppm in the tailing itself, and when it was concentrated, it gave 1.13% cobalt. And this shows other contents. The important feature is that concentrates carry more than 1%. Tailings as well as the ore. Next one. Yeah. This one is a work of 1994, because before commencing the copper concentrated plant, I had sent about, I think about 200 kgs of copper ore from Kalyadi to Indian Bureau of Mines, Nagpur, and at the same time, about 240 tons was trucked to Ingalldal copper mines in year late 1973 or 74. And then I was doing this bulk sampling of ore at that time. And, these things were all new to us. Bulk sampling on a scale of several hundred tons was totally new. And I don't know how I did some of those works in those days with very little knowledge. And then let me here, this is 1974. It's an in-house publication of the Indian Bureau of Mines, IBM report of investigation number 267 and 1974. Pyrite concentrate contained 41.6% sulfur, and pyrite recovery was 57.5%. Copper concentrate was 29% copper. The recovery was almost 93% recovery. This is the conclusion arrived at by Sutane and Raju Babu, yeah, of Indian Bureau of Mines. So why I highlight this one is this was in my old collections, and then I thought that let me put it out. And so there is a possibility. This work demonstrates that there is a possibility of concentrating pyrite alone from Kalyadi ores and also from the tailings. Next one. Yeah. Regional geology, for those geologists interested in regional geology, this is a Kalyadi area is a part of a migmatite terrain. The supracrystals are essentially metasedimentary, siliceous in nature, metasedimentary supracrystals associated with some ultramaphites and occurring as large xenoliths within peninsular gneiss. It was those days classified under Sargu group or Sargur cyst complex of in the stratigraphy of the Dharwar craton. The terrain around Kalyadi is also intruded by, as I said, the 2.6 GA post-tectonic, late to post-tectonic Arsic granite, which triggered remobilization of the earlier syngenetic core. And this is essentially Kalyadi ore is a syngenetic stratiform ore. There is very good evidences are there, and there is a concurrence. There is no dispute in this one by the authors who have studied the Kalyadi copper deposit. So there is a remobilization phase which I attribute to a waning. I attribute to 2.6 GA granite intrusion. And 34 holes were drilled by GSI and later on by Department of Mines and Geology, and when I was involved in 1973. Next one, please. Yeah, this is the geological map of Kalyadi area. This was prepared by me and based on, of course, the earlier knowledge, essentially by M.N. Vishwanatha, who was very kind enough to guide me in those days. He was the geologist on the Geological Survey of India and one of the most dynamic geologists known at that time. He had a very premature death, but uh, I learned a lot from him on how to handle the drilling programs and doing sampling, etc. He was one of my gurus in exploration geology. Look here from east to this is uh, the trend of body is northwest southeast. From southeastern end to northwestern end is 500 meters. The width is anywhere between 10 to 50 meters. The widest spot is on the southeastern side. 50 meters is exposed by crosscut, and the entire 50 meter is which analyzed in those days 0.76 percent percent copper, but the average grade is 0.55% for the entire 500-meter length here. So next one, please. Yeah. India is on its way to secure self-sufficiency in cobalt. It has committed through Kabil, the Khanij Videsh India Limited, jointly to invest 6 million with the Australian government to explore for lithium and cobalt mines in Australia over the next 6 months. This news is, I think, 2021 news, or I think uh, April 2022. So this is the most recent information. And the agreement also provides for inclusion of any other Indian state-run firms as an investment partner and envisages due diligence process. And I mean, this is the process through which Kabil wants to take the uh, uh, the program forward. India is also offering 2.4 billion incentives to companies to build battery cells locally for electric vehicles. This is the decision post 2018 budget presentation by Nirmala Sitharaman when the government of India resolved to change over to EVs on a large scale. And yeah, so we need cobalt. Yes, next one, please. Yeah. Some of the conclusions, I have reproduced this one. This is from Parmeshwaraya. And his conclusions, I was very, very impressed, his far-sightedness. And uh, India will figure on the world inventory map of cobalt mineral. This is what he stated. And then Kalyadi, he also thought that Kalyadi is going to become a mine, cobalt producing mine in the future. And I'm not going to read, and because I would like to give more time and to receive questions. And data code is free to share my presentation to anybody interested. Please, next one, please. Yeah. Indian Minerals Yearbook 2019, published, I think it is in 2021, this publication. And the IBM Yearbook mentions about the occurrence of cobalt in parts of Singhbhum district in Jharkhand, Kendujhar and Jaipur in Odisha, Junjunu in Rajasthan, Tuensang district in Nagaland, Jabu and Hoshangabad in MP. These are the places in this Indian book, yearbook mentions. In Jaipur, in Odisha, cobalt occurs with nickeriferous laterite in Sukinda area. As you all know, in Abola, Nosahi, and Sukinda is known for the chromite and the significant nickel is found, I think 0.9%, I suppose, my stand for correction. And nickel is found within the laterites in this area. And apart from this one, the Indian Minerals Yearbook also mentions the seabed multimetal nodules, which contain 0.3%. I mean, this is within the our territory. 0.3% cobalt, along with other minerals. So this is the documentation in our Indian book. Existing resources, there's a figure for it. The as on 1/4/2015, 45 million tons, of which 69%, that is 31 million tons, in Odisha, and I think it is in laterites, and the remaining 31% in Jharkhand, and 9 million tons in Nagaland. Nagaland, we have the chromite. I don't know which is the source for cobalt, cobaltiferous source in Nagaland. It must be the ophiolite belt and Nagaland ophiolite belt. And so these are the resources. But apart from this, they like the areas like the Kalyadi, for example, these do not figure, even though Indian Bureau of Mines, was Parameshwaraya was an Indian Bureau of Mines mining geologist, and his own studies has placed Kalyadi as an area to be looked for cobalt. So, but it doesn't figure at all. Yeah. So, Indian Bureau of Mines, I request IBM to update their knowledge on the cobalt in India. Yeah. Next one, please. Otherwise, NMP, what is it? National Mineral Inventory will be incomplete. Recommendation. This is our recommendation. Cobalt being in great demand for production of EVs, we urge the government of Karnataka to revive the old mine and immediately undertake drilling up to 500 to 800 meters, because as we at depth, the cobaltiferous pyrite is increasing in content. Preceding a program of deep probe IP survey, which I recommend, the pyrite-rich tailing dumps let out from the old copper concentrator at Kaliadi should also be treated as cobalt resource in the future. Bulk samples of tailing dumps should be got analyzed for cobalt again and beneficiated again. There is enough clue that it can be concentrated, the clues that I have presented. And then the concentrate is reporting 1% cobalt, which and this was tested in BARC's chemical lab, apart from Indian Bureau of Mines in-house testing in 1997, 96. The samples were sent by, I think, Abdul Rahim, when he was with Hatti Gold Mines Limited as mining geologist, and the testing was carried out in BARC Hyderabad. These are all authenticated information. So 1% cobalt in the concentrates of the ore concentrates is a good, I should say, a beginning for commencing Kalyadi as a cobalt mine. Next one, please. Next one. Yeah, there is immense scope. This is, I have started compiling on the cobalt content of different sulfide ores across India. And, apart from the recommendation for reopening the Kalyadi mines, there are many more cobalt-rich sulfide resources other than those listed in the IBM's NMI. And one such, I said, it is in Ingeldal copper mine itself. That is also under, although copper itself has got good market price at the moment, and copper is going to be in demand in the future, but it's closed down. And these are the ones that I expect the government of India to first look at what is happening, not just hang around the dirty auction mode, even for exploration. I'm very upset with the Ministry of Mines, and they should have opened up the policy and allowed the people to, the companies, Indian companies, to identify areas and then file applications seeking grant of exploration licenses. This was a thoughtless decision on the part of the Ministry of Mines to prevent the Indian citizens, Indian companies to find areas on their own and file applications. The earlier the better. They should change rather than hunting for all these metals overseas in Australia and other places. Jolly well, let them go. But why not encourage the Indian citizens? You and I should be able to, should have the right to file applications that they should open up. We recommend for literature scanning of sulfide deposits in the country and pick out all those plus 100 gram per ton or ppm cobalt locations. We also recommend that a part of 2.4 billion offered by Government of India as incentive for companies to build battery cells for EVs be diverted to mineral beneficiation and metallurgical studies for extraction of cobalt from known cobaltiferous, there's a spelling error there, cobaltiferous sulfide resources in the country. And as I said, even in Bukia in Rajasthan, it should have come, it should have become a gold mining center by this time. They have 240 tons of gold in Bukia Japura sector. They have significant cobalt also in the sulfide ores here. The MMDR Act and has to be adopted and introduce EL, which I proposed to the PMO on the 29th of July. It says should be a seamless RPPL and ML on FCFS mode. And this is the way to achieve Atmanirbhar Bharat in cobalt and other so-called deep-seated metals and minerals. Next one. I would like to say thank you all. Yeah, thank you, Data Code, for this opportunity. And I also apologize, forgive, permit me, I have a bit slowed down. I'm completing 74 this month on the 29th. There's some slowdown on my part. And this is a picture here. On the extreme left is Mr. R.H. Saukar, who was my boss in 1974-75 as the project manager of Kalyadi Copper, Karnataka Copper Consortium. He's no more, and he passed away very recently. He was the Secretary General of the Geological Society of India. Adjacent to him is a well-known figure, India's a doyen of geology, Dr. M. Ramakrishnan, and he's in the US, I think, and with his son. And he happened to visit. We met each other about 3 months ago. He came for a seminar in the Geological Survey of India. M.N. Vishwanatha, who first did the geological mapping of the Kaliadi copper deposit in 1970s, and his M.N. Vishwanatha is no more. And H.A. David, he was the mining engineer, mines manager, Kaliadi copper mines in 1974-75. He began. This is Srinivas Murthy, was a director, Geological Survey of India, was one of the well-known field geologists of the Karnataka Circle. On the extreme right is the doyen of the geology of India, Padma Shri, Dr. B.P. Radhakrishna, who was also my boss for several years, and one who told me how to log drill cores when in 1973 I was struggling with a piece of drill core at Tintini Copperfield, and BPR said, first you must dip this core in water, and do you have a hand lens? I did not have a hand lens. So take a hand lens, and this is the way to log a core. So he introduced me, BPR, when he was the director of mines and geology, and also managing director of Chitradurga Copper Company, introduced me to core logging. Yeah, thank you all. Thank you, Data Code. And over.
Thank you so much, sir.
Welcome.
For this informative session. Now, if anybody has any questions, please raise your hand or just put it in the chat box.
Kanchan, was I clear? Was I audible clearly, or did I
Yes, yes,
rush?
yes. Throughout, absolutely, sir. You're
Thank you. Thank you.
So the presentation and the information you shared and the knowledge you shared was amazing. I mean, there are many things which I was also have learned out of it. I'm sure the audience would have got more insight about how things can happen and how things should be taken forward. Any questions, please do raise your hands. We would be happy to answer. Before that, we take question and answers. I would like to wish Sir a very healthy and happy birthday in coming uh, end of this month, 29th.
Yeah.
We look
Thank
forward to see him going uh, beyond the numbers, and his experience and knowledge is very important.
thank you
Though
so much, Karnakar. Thank you very much. I'm grateful to you. Yeah.
he feels that he has slowed down, if that's the energy he has at 74, 75, I think young guys should really learn and understand how the energy can be put to the professional services. And that's a lesson to be learned by all of us, including me, being in part of this fraternity. I think something which we forget as modern day people is that the energy which is required on the field and understanding on the field and the detailing of the field as a geologist is key to the success, not just the desktop data processing or doing some stuff in IT. Uh, I would surely like to invite questions. Please go ahead. Any questions?
Good morning, Vasudevan sir.
Good morning.
This
May I
is
know
ML
the
Dora from sir. It's so
pardon?
nice, sir. It is so nice and so informative. You have a command from a field to up to laboratory scale, but only,
Yeah.
sir, one I would like to know what is
Yeah.
its a source. As you told, sir, it is a syngenetic mineralization. Later
Yeah.
is affected by the granite intrusion, rightly, sir.
Yes.
Because
Correct.
as we have not seen any copper ore in the form of minerals
Yeah.
in a ore petrography. So
Yeah.
that is the where I have some doubt in my mind. What would be the source?
Source is sulfur isotope data is available by
Huh?
from two independent sources. One is
Yes,
I
sir.
think our Devaraju, Professor Devaraju, and earlier to that, Menon
Sir.
carried out sulfur isotope studies in the Indian Institute of Science, and we conclude that is Professor Krishna Rao in Mysore is also now I think 82 or so at the
Sir.
moment. He was involved in detailed studies along with one Ravindra of Mines and Geology Department and myself. We did the work and concluded that this is, and also Chandrasekharam and
Sir.
Biju Matthew,
Sir.
all of us, this is a volcanogenic sedimentary exhalative. You know,
Excellent.
the
Because sir,
church,
excellent, sir. That is what I am suspecting. Because sir,
uh,
cobalt-rich pyrite generally genetically linked to a sedimentary source.
uh,
Generally, don't come because so much cobalt enriched in a pyrite crystal
mm,
lattice that
mm,
might be have some sedimentary volcanogenic affinity. That's what I
yeah,
suspecting.
yeah.
Yes.
And chert, we look at it as a white smoker in one of the earliest in the Arcane, which we reported. And this is the genetic conclusion that we have arrived at.
Absolutely, sir.
And
Absolutely.
the 2005, 2006 millennial, the veins, there are chalcopyrite, pyrite, little bit of pyrrhotite bearing quartz carbonate veins are there. That is the northern part of the same, this 500 meter long ore body. And they are really discordant and cut through the cystoscreen. And that is the epigenetic part. Otherwise, the main body, which is within the charity, we call it as chetty quartzites. It's really very fine grained, and the laminations are still seen. That is one of the evidences for us to conclude that this was a sedimentary origin. And so that's it. Thank you for your question.
Okay, sir. So nice of you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again,
Welcome.
sir. Thank you, Kornekar, sir, for inviting such a eminent person to share his knowledge. It's really, sir, amazing, sir.
Yeah, all of us are eminent in our way, in our own ways. No one is less, lesser than the other. So, all of us are in our own way
Absolutely.
person. Yeah.
I really appreciate your courtesy and humbleness, but the fact is, we are all your students, and we have a lot of learning from you. Uh,
Um,
Good
Karnakar, I have a
morning, Doctor.
request to you. Please write a letter and share this presentation with your own letter with the Ministry of Mines. Directly write to the Secretary, Ministry of Mines, and also PMO, because we are all ministry is thinking that cobalt and lithium are just outside the borders of our country, but there is here itself. Please, data code, you take the lead and write to the Ministry of Mines.
Surely, sir.
Good,
Surely.
good,
I'll
good
take that.
morning. Good morning, Dr. Vasudev.
Good
This is
morning.
Nathan. This is
Nathan,
Nathan.
oh, my good friend.
Excellent. It's
Thank
an
you.
excellent presentation.
Yeah,
74 is only a number. There is no slowdown in your presentation. Because
yeah,
I've been hearing you for the last, at least for the last 10, 12 years, ever from that committee meeting
yeah,
the ministry organized. So
yeah,
your presentation is excellent, and it is really it's the need of the hour that with the Cobalt Association in the copper ores is something
yeah,
which we have to now give a serious thought about it. And
yeah,
in that respect, I only now develop interest to look at the ores in the Nimkatana belt as well as in the K3 and other belts.
yeah.
We have a huge, marginally good grade, zero point 0.4 to
Yes,
zero point 0.5, similar to our Kalyadi.
exactly.
So
Correct.
it has to be relooked now. And the
Yes,
silver lining that you have given for the Bukia. Bukia
yeah,
is really waiting for a long to get converted into a mine, gold mine. And the value addition now you are telling the cobalt is also there. It's a real good information to all
yeah,
of us. It's a very encouraging one. I think the ministry should take a very positive approach
yeah.
in opening up all these prospects for converting into mines. And any data you have on this cobalt values from the K3 copper ores by any chance?
K3 I do not have, but All the Hilly and
Yeah,
Mangalapura is
acha.
southeast of, not very far from Kalyadi. This was a
Yeah,
discovery, first discovery, I think, in the late 60s, 67, 68 or so, of the Geological Survey of India Airborne
yeah.
Survey Division, and
Mr.
rich iron
Devapriyan,
sulfide.
DV Devapriyan was working on that.
Devapriyan and others. And they were, when they were drilling, Deva Prasad was involved. Deva
Devaprasad,
Prasad,
Devaprasad.
who was my
Yeah,
classmate.
yeah, yeah.
Deva Prasad, and he was camping there. Jairam in those days,
Yes,
uh,
yes. P.
was
Jairam,
the
BNJ.
BN Jairam, director, Airborne Survey Wing. Vemban also.
Oh,
After Vemban, Narayan Swami and then Jairam were there, and they used to visit Aladhandi to examine. First discovery through airborne survey. This contains significant cobalt,
wow.
and there is a publication of the Geological Survey of India. I've been compiling Karnataka area and where are the cobalt, and
I,
significant cobalt in Ingeldal copper mines, and here, and also the vanadiferous titaniferous magnetite associated with sulfides in Tagadur. Tagadur is a Nugihalli belt. You know it quite well. These are the places where we have significant cobalt, and also along the western margin of
Cobalt
our gold fields. There is
also.
what is it, Ganacharpura graphite sulfide deposit. I
Okay.
was the one who drilled it first and found graphite and sulfides in 1974-75.
Yeah.
It's an isolated place. While reaching from Bangalore to while reaching Kolar Goldfields proper, we come across this graphite sulfide deposit containing significant cobalt. Yeah.
Very good.
So these are some of the
Very good real
places.
information. As you have
Yeah.
rightly pointed out to Dr. Karnakar Rao, all this
Yeah.
information should reach the ministry. I think the ministry
Yes.
now, we should look into our own indigenous copper prospects for the
Yeah.
possible association of cobalt.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
experience, your expertise will be of definitely of great help to the Karnataka government at least, because you are there stationed at Bangalore. I think hopefully they will get the maximum benefit from you. I wish
Yeah.
you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Nathan, 1 minute. I know, you were a member of the committees in, pre 2015. I was also
Yes,
your co-member on
yes,
this
yes,
Precious Metals Committee. Ministry of
yes,
Mines will hear your voice because, you have a latest book also on now.
yes.
And your voice will be heard. Nathan, I request you
Definitely.
and suggest, write a letter to the secretary. Your
Sure,
voice matters.
sure, sure, sir. It's
Yeah,
overall development of our country. We must put our
correct.
combined
Share
efforts.
our
Thank
knowledge.
you. Thank you very much.
Good morning, sir. This is Kasi. Am I audible, sir?
Good morning. Yes, very, very clearly, as
Yes, sir.
always.
Thank you, sir. Sir, any idea about Saladipura graphite oxide pyrite cobalt values?
Very good question. And Saladipura is a big deposit, I tell you. It's a
Yes,
pyrite.
sir.
It was
Pyrite
being
was
handled by what is it, phosphate and some they were
zinc also a bit.
fertilizer phosphatic
Yes.
company was there. They were handling Saladipura in the late 1970s.
Yes, sir.
So this is a good question. I don't know, Kasi, what's the content of cobalt in Saladipura sulfide deposit. This is in Orissa, isn't it?
No, sir. It is in Rajasthan, sir.
Rajasthan. Rajasthan.
Saladipura.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I mistook it for some other. Saladipura, yes. There is a acid drainage problem was there in Saladipura area. There is an old adit also in this
Yes,
Saladipura
sir.
area. It was a mine which was being handled by a PSU of the government of India. It's worth examining this one for cobalt.
Okay. And as someone asked, Nathan, sir, in Khetri complex, one prospect
Yes.
named Akawali, sir.
Quali.
Yes.
Yeah, quali process.
Aquali cobalt antiform. Aquali antiform. There is a cobalt reported by Geological Survey of India, sir.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Kasi.
Kasi, why is it silent?
No
Why
idea.
this prosper? I have the idea. I blame it on auction.
Yes, sir.
I blame it on auction. Really, let them auction the proven and certified resources, but not hold up. Auction what you cannot value. And even before the baby is born, they're auctioning G4 level reconnaissance data and calling it as prospecting combining CL composite license. This is a thoughtless. I have been telling. I have also told that the Ministry of Mines on the 25th in the brainstorming session, if you continue with auction mode for exploration, you will never make India vibrant in terms of exploration. I said you can never attract junior exploration companies.
Yes. Sir, can I ask one more question, please?
Yeah.
Sir, the Neoproterozoic belts, especially Vindhyans,
Yeah.
there are graphitic shales with a lot of pyrite at places report. Do we look in that also, cobalt, sir?
We should start checking them in an unbiased manner. There are theses are there. Pure sedimentary pyrites may not, if it doesn't have a, what's it, a mafic source for the solutions, may not carry cobalt. But we should go in an unbiased manner. We should all these areas, sulfide areas, must be sampled for cobalt and other metals associated. Bismuth also we should. Indium should be tested.
Germanium.
Germanium.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. What do you say? Kaliadi will become a cobalt mine or not? I was asking Kasi.
Yes, sir. Definitely, it has a lot of potential, sir. Of course, we keep interacting regarding this. It should come in actions, actually. This kind of.
No. Maybe, yeah, okay, because it's a proven area. Let it come on auction. Let it come on auction. I stand to correction. Let it go on auction.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Please, you have something to.
Pardon?
Narasimha sir, are you? Narasimha sir, are you there?
Narasimha Rao, yeah.
Yeah, he has raised hands.
Okay. Fine. Nagendra, you still have anything? I think questions are over. Until just check if anybody has any questions.
Sir, there
or
is
in
one
the
question in a
chat
chat box.
box. And
Yeah. The question is, any geophysical surveys and result for cobalt-rich copper minerals in your knowledge?
Any geophysical survey, is it?
Yeah.
Geophysical survey in not in Kalyadi area, not in Kalyadi, in many other areas, sulfides, IP, particularly IP, and it will be detected. It will be detected, IP or even EM also. EM and EM, if it's massive sulfide is there, yes, gets detected. And geophysical surveys carried out in the Oladelli belt southeast of Kalyadi has shown up as chargeability zones, which guided the drilling operations in the 80s, late 70s. So it is quite easy to detect sulfide deposits.
Thank you, sir.
You may put this on your data code website also.
Just coming to the geophysics part, geophysics is a very important role, not only for other men.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, sir. We will surely share this on the website also.
Yeah.
So, what I was saying is geophysical methods are important, but they are indirect methods. So one has to understand that before going for any geophysical methods, the physical method should be observing is people are going for geophysical surveys, but the planning of the geophysical survey is not in line with what it should be. So that is resulting into not getting as expected result as it should be.
Now that the drones have come in operation, and the high resolution magnetometer survey from drone can be carried out now, and it's available in India.
Sir, I understand that. I mean, I am a very futuristic with drones. Magnetic surveys and EM surveys do look to be possible with drones. But the challenge with these technologies is that they are being developed as an instrument, but the processing and interpretation is not being done as it was required to be. So people who are developing these instruments are pretty good at instrumentation, but we are working with a Canadian group. I don't want to name it. They have developed a pretty good instrument, but at the same time we have challenges when we see the data because initial they don't have an understanding of geophysics. So that's the challenge which we
Geologists and geophysicists should involve. The interpretation stage. Geologist is the involvement of geologists is a must. And this is what we were doing in both in Geomysore Services and Deccan Gold Mines Limited. In-house, we were all geophysics geologists. We were putting our head together, and most importantly, we must appreciate the geology and the different lithology in an area before we offer our interpretation.
Vasudev sir, good morning.
Structure is equally important for geophysical interpretation.
Vasudev sir, good morning. Nagendra here. How are you?
Good morning, Nagendra. Yeah,
I'm good. I still remember we met during the Bangalore Simtars meet along with Biplab Da. How are you?
Oh, yes. I recall that.
Yeah. Good, sir. So my very simple question is, if I'm mentioning the drilling requirement of about 500 to 800 meter depth of drilling, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So definitely it ought to be by underground method of mining only, rather than in Africa, in whether it
Mining or drilling?
mining activity has to be by open cast method only, right?
I
Or
mean, it's
underground.
already developed in 4 underground levels, and this is
So
going to be in the future is an underground mine.
underground mine only, because unlike in Africa, whether it is Congo or elsewhere, it's more
Yeah.
of an open cast. So that difference would make as a viability into a question. So, I mean, any study has been done with respect to the underground method of mining versus the present rate of cobalt, so that, see, when we present it to the ministry as well, we need to be doubly sure that it's definitely viable. So that any high level studies you had done, sir?
No, not from my side.
Okay.
This in itself should be a big eye opener for the Ministry of Mines and the concerned state.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's
True.
a limitation on what
I know, sir.
most of them have gone plus 70 years already.
Yeah.
So-
Hats off to you, sir.
and my geologist, Rahim, I had
Yeah.
appointed him as a geologist in 1974 in
Yeah.
Kaliadi. He's 62 years already.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the next generation needs to take the baton immediately.
Yes, that's right. But it's a very, very important question, as you
Yeah.
said.
Taking the cues from,
Ah,
true, sir. Taking the
we
cues
were
from your
doing.
studies and reports, definitely we, the young team, needs to take up to further level through data code or through definitely through renowned agencies, government. Even we can speak to Karnataka State Mineral Development Corporation,
Yeah.
whether they can take it up forward. Very
I
nice.
suggested this to as a nominated member of the Karnataka Mineral Policy Committee, which
Okay.
started in 2021 October,
Right.
and then presented our report in 2021 to the government. I suggested my major two suggestions were, Karnataka has at least 25 gold mines to be commenced before
Yes.
2029. Number one,
Yes.
Cobalt, Kalyadi Cobalt should be Kalyadi mine should be reopened, and then what is it? Ingeldal copper mines should be reopened.
Chitradurga.
Kallur
Yes,
copper
sir.
deposit, yeah, that is at Chitradurga. Kallur copper deposit should be reopened. High values of cobalt is there. I'm mentioning now, which I had not mentioned in my talk today. Tintini copper field in Gulbarga, or north of Hatti gold mines, has got very high cobalt content
Yes, sir. Yes.
in the mineral phases again, that is in the pyrite.
All right.
So Kalyadi Tintini copper field must be reopened. Machnur, which is still being drilled, I suppose, by Geological Survey of India. I was drilling this Machnur in 1980. I was in charge of drilling Machnur. It had commenced earlier in 1974 itself. And Machnur copper deposit can be opened. These are the copper areas which also contain significant cobalt. And
Right.
I think the also gold. Maybe I don't know how much gold. It will be anomalous gold will be present.
Very true, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Ingeldal
sir.
carries 4 grams per ton in the concentrates.
Yes, sir.
In the
Yes, sir.
concentrates.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Prashant Laria, sir.
Oh, my friend, thank you. I couldn't make out from your voice. Thank you very much, Prashant.
Yes, sir. Sir, it's a good presentation, sir. I just have one that doubt. Whether, sir, do you think cobalt mineral possibility in Trans-Aravalli region of the Rajasthan area, where some ophiolite sequences have been known, and particularly the extent of development of ophiolite sequence with respect to the economic potentiality, whether it is there, sir? Do you think, sir, in Dhani granite or in the Iranpura granite, where the pseudotechlite veins have been intruded, so does this portion is also having some cobalt that economic potentiality, sir?
I don't know exactly, really, because I have no personal knowledge on neither. I have read any literature on this area. But you see, if there are sulfide deposits associated, um, uh, um, should be tested. Should be tested.
Okay. So I am just
But
correlating this
currently, I
with
don't
that
know.
ophiolite rock suits generally have considered for the cobalt nickel mineralization. So from that point only, I related this and just having a doubt in mind. So
Yes,
it
in
is,
the
sir, I think.
Nagaland ophiolite belt, Nagaland, and this figures in the National Mineral Inventory or Indian Minerals Year book of IBM. Nagaland figures there. So it's an ophiolite belt. So, and we have the chromite and then nickel bearing minerals. I have not seen any laterite there because I have traversed Nagaland ophiolite belt almost from southeast of Arunachal Pradesh to almost Manipur border. But our focus in those days was mainly platinum group metals. I had signed the MOU with the Nagaland Chief Minister and sometime in 2011. So I suggest the ophiolite sequences in Rajasthan too should be tested.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Welcome. Narsimrao had a question, I suppose.
So he's left, I think.
He was formerly with AMD, isn't it? AMD, Narsimrao.
Yes.
My long-standing friend.
Sir, with this, I would like to thank you and participants for such a good Saturday start. We had, bit of challenges, but I think it has been a good learning for all of us, and especially with you on the delivery side. It was really amazing. I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Next session we will be having on geophysics. Kanchan, you can put that slide of
Jonathan Rudd.
Jonathan. Yeah, he is one of the very hard, innovative geophysicist. He runs the geophysics. So speak about the importance of adopting new technologies in exploration cycle, more focus towards geophysics. And I look forward to seeing you all once again on fourth Saturday this time.
Yeah. Please invite the Ministry of Mines and the Director General of the Geological Survey of India to hear such talks. They, they should, participate in this important program that you have been very regularly conducting. And then I have defaulted on one on my lecture on gold is still pending, and let's see.
Sir, we send invites to everybody. It's an open forum to share the knowledge. I will take your point and also personally talk to them and ask them to attend these sessions. I will take that. Because this is something which even for us is learning. It is not any commercial activities.
And this is a great post-COVID opportunity. Wherever I am in a village, Doddamudwadi, 55 kilometers south of. There is no broadband connection here, but I depend on my hotspot, mobile hotspot.
Right.
See, that is the technology. Wherever you are, you can speak and give a talk, sharing knowledge. I think Mr. Jonathan will be. Is he US based? Is it? Is he
Canada.
US? Canada, yeah.
Canada.
So
he's an authority in geo. He has a lot of experience, especially on geophysics side and various mineral investigations.
Yes, I will participate on the 24th.
Right. Thank you, sir. Thanks for your time.
Welcome.
We appreciate that. Thanks.
Bye. Welcome.
We will be this recording on our website, YouTube. Everybody can access,
Okay.
take the information.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Last but not the least, I would like to thank to all our audiences for your time and attention today. Please do continue to visit our website for update on coming sessions. See you all in the next session. Thank you so much.
Yeah. 1 minute, madam. 1 minute. Just unmuted. Good morning, sir. I am
Good
Opi
morning.
Somani.
Oh, Dr. Somani, how are you?
Fine, sir. Fine, sir. It was a great and very elucidating talk on cobalt. It's a very, important metal as on today.
Yeah.
Sir, I noticed this nickel values are also very high apart from cobalt. Because nowadays what is happening, because of the high price of cobalt, they are replacing cobalt with nickel. So if we see the today's price, cobalt is around $51,000 a ton and nickel is around $21,000 a ton. So it can also be a very good byproduct, because in future because of the non-availability or the scarcity of cobalt, nickel will lead, because this can be easily accommodated in the EV batteries. So this nickel can also be a byproduct, because I saw the values around 0.5%, 0.6%. So apart from cobalt,
0.5% is a ore grade for nickel,
yes,
as you know.
Yes. So this will be a good byproduct, what I observed.
Yes. Yes, it should be analyzed, focusing exclusively on nickel also. And there's a need to scan all these areas, isn't it? GSI should go on a mission mode, or just leave it to the private sector. Now everything is filtered. It's a top down, not bottom up in exploration in India at the moment.
Because this Tesla company started using nickel in place of cobalt. So the others are also following the same. And the price of this nickel gone up to $50,000 a ton during Ukraine war, because the Russia produces around 30% of the nickel globally. So this nickel is also very important nowadays.
Yes. In Mahakoshal belt, there are a number of locations for nickel, associated with high magnesium basalts. And that is there. Nugihelli belt again must be examined in Karnataka, with which I am familiar. And so there are so many other, even in Rajasthan, these ophiolite belts, which are essentially known for chromite, should also be tested for nickel, because we are looking for, not really in terms of several percent, 0.5%, 0.4%. So there is a need to scan all these areas.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. It's a good and very timely suggestion.
Thank you, sir.
I still read your book, Dr. Somani, now and then,
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you for gifting that book to me. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, just a minute. Narasimha Rao, sir, is, I think, there. If you can ask, because I just, if he has something, he can surely join.
Yeah.
Narasimha Rao, sir, are you there? Because he called me on the phone. I didn't pick up this phone. Narasimha Rao, sir, are you there? Okay, I'll if he has
left, I think.
Something. Yeah, surely, sir. I'll come. Right. Thanks, sir.
He was to meet me in Bangalore, actually. He spoke to me about a week ago and said that he would meet me in connection with some gold mine in Tanzania.
Okay. Yeah. No worries.
Okay. Thank you all. And
thank you.
Thank you for another opportunity for me. Bye. OnePlus.